You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, JNU student leader Kanhaiya Kumar joins protests outside Hyderabad University demanding justice for Dalit scholar Rohith Vemula, who committed suicide in January. As Kanhaiya invoked Rohith and the campus unrest ferments, should the government take this opportunity to reach out to students at this time? Also tonight, the National Human Rights Commission has slapped a notice on the Chhattisgarh government today for the arrest of yet another journalist in the state, this time for something he wrote on WhatsApp. Are states cracking down on the media? Has the media become a soft target? We're talking about that in about 30 minutes from now. But first, our top story tonight. Kanhaiya Kumar, the JNU student leader who's currently out on bail after being arrested for sedition, went to Hyderabad University today to show solidarity with students who were demanding justice for Rohith Vemula. Rohith was the Dalit scholar who committed suicide earlier this year, sparking off a major controversy. Kanhaiya was not allowed into the campus to address students, but he did speak outside. He also met Rohith's mother. Kanhaiya's trip to Hyderabad has been watched keenly since Rohith's death and then his own arrest have become political flashpoints in the last couple of months.
देश को बचाने की लड़ाई है, संविधान को बचाने की लड़ाई है, रोहित वेमुला को न्याय, जस्टिस रोहित एक्ट को लागू करवाने की लड़ाई, इस देश के अंदर लोकतंत्र को बचाने की लड़ाई है, संविधान को बचाने की लड़ाई है। इसीलिए साथियों, अगर पुलिस मुझे अलाउ नहीं कर रही, अगर एचयू प्रशासन मुझे अंदर जाने से मना कर रहा है, तो उनको मैं एक बात कह देना चाहता हूं कि लाठी चलाकर, हमारे ऊपर डंडे मारकर, हमको हॉस्पिटल पहुंचाकर आप हमारी आवाज को नहीं दबा सकते।
Well, the question is whether this is an opportunity for the government to reach out to students at this time. Professor Rakesh Sinha of the RSS joining us here in the studio. We have senior journalist Sabha Naqvi as well here in Delhi with us. Also joining us tonight from the Congress Party, Khushbu Sundar, its spokesperson. And we'll be joined shortly by Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao of the BJP, and Nelson, who's a research scholar at the Hyderabad University and the former president of the student union there. He joins us tonight straight from the campus. Nelson, just tell us what is happening in the campus right now, because, we saw that Kanhaiya was not allowed to actually enter the campus and talk to students. But we've also heard that students who were lathi charged yesterday by police after the ransacking of the Vice Chancellor's office, there are many who've been arrested and also badly injured. What can you tell us about that?
See, the university is currently under siege, and under siege for the selfish ambitions of one man who wants to hold on to the post of Vice Chancellor at the University of Apparao, that is Apparao Pudili. And to ensure that he takes control over the university, is using brutal force with the aid of the Telangana police. I mean, as you mentioned, yes, yesterday the Vice Chancellor's lodge was ransacked, but what happened is the lathi charge was not done on those people who ransacked it. It was done on the protesters. I mean, the people who ransacked the VC's lodge were actually called by the Vice Chancellor. The ABEP people, about 100 students were inside. By the time the protesters who demand justice for Rohith Vemula reached the spot, the Vice Chancellor already mobilized mob inside the house. So they were not even let inside. So how can the protesters vandalize it?
No, but then who
so that
vandalized
is one thing.
it?
And second, today,
look, Nelson, I do have a serious question.
The mob.
I understand you're upset about. I understand that you're upset about this Vice Chancellor coming back at this time, because there is, still an inquiry underway about Rohith's death, and there are lots of question marks being raised about his conduct at the time. Nevertheless, is it justified for students to be, breaking windows, breaking furniture, breaking equipment in the Vice Chancellor's office? Is that kind of violence and that form of protest justified at all?
No, it is not at all justified, and we are not for violence. We believe in Ambedkar's constitution. I am also saying that the people who actually involved in violence should be punished. But the point is, they are targeting people who are in the forefront demanding the justice for Rohith Vemula. And secondly, recently in Quint and the News Minute, the things on how Apparao entered the university, the tasks have been published. There it is written that he will meet the ABVP Sushil Kumar at 7:05 p.m. in Gachibowli Stadium, the stadium which is like half a kilometer away from HCU, before entering the campus. This was a pre-planned attempt. They planned everything right from the beginning to the evening lathi charge, and the arrest was already planned by the morning 8 a.m.
Okay, Nelson,
you should go through it. It's in the news minute.
Let me get first reactions from everyone on the developments of the last 48 hours. And Professor Sinha, let me ask you, do you think it was bad timing to get the Vice Chancellor Upper Rao to come back at this point? It's just been a couple of months since Rohit's death, and there are question marks because Rohit had written a letter of anguish to the same Vice Chancellor a month before he died, saying you should euthanize Dalit students because of the kind of discrimination we're facing on campus. He has been accused of, ignoring, that cry for help which many saw that Rohit was making. Could it have been handled better? Could he have come back later?
I believe Rohit has raised a larger question of social democracy in the campus. It was not concerned only the period of Upper Rao. The question of social democracy is not the concern of the 2 years of Narendra Modi government or this Vice Chancellor. We believe that in campus there is a kind of exclusion of the Dalit student. This is the fact, and we should change the scenario. So, linking with a particular ideology, particular Vice Chancellor, particular political party does not solve the problem, number one. Number two, it is the prerogative of the JNU President Kanhaiya Kumar to go anywhere in the country. But the matter is that he is getting larger than life size. He is meeting Rahul Gandhi. Means organized political party could not produce from their inside a leader to lead them. They are now depending on a Kanhaiya Kumar who is not in the position to lead the opposition parties. What is happening that about the Kanhaiya? He is going for the justice. This is the tragedy of the Indian left. If you don't accept their demand, if the things are not according to the wishes, they flatly reject the institution and the process. You see in the Jawaharlal Nehru University, they said that the committee is wrong, committee is not transparent, committee is not democratic. Means committee should be formed according to their wishes. Committee should give the report what they demand. So things are not like that. There is a constitution.
But you made an important point. You're saying Kanhaiya has become larger than life, and he's very much a political leader according to you, though he claims that he's a student.
No, he is being used as a focal point for anti-establishment movement in the country. But that is not the possible. I think he is confined to only the left supporters. Left supporters are shouting. And one more point I am telling you. There should be political democracy in the campus. I am an adherent of student union election and political democracy in the campus. This is a great political training ground. But at the same time, university system is for the education. Political democracy should not be too much that normal academic activities should be hampered.
Okay,
90% students are for the study and the normals in the campus.
That leads to another debate, but let me get Khushbu in on this. Khushbu, the point that Professor Sinha made, is Kanhaiya Kumar being used, as he put it, as in a sense a political tool, as a focal point of anti-establishment protest? For instance, he said when he came out of jail that I'm not a political leader, I'm a student, but at least from my point of view, everything I've seen him do since then shows that he's very much grooming into becoming a political leader. Why did he then meet Rahul Gandhi yesterday and then head to Hyderabad today?
Nidhi, let's make it a point very clear. If the ruling government, if the concerned authorities had met the students, whether it was Rohith Vemula's case, it was Hyderabad University or JNU or what we are seeing since yesterday at Ferguson, if the authorized people, if the concerned people, if the HRD ministry or someone from the government had a dialogue with these students, I'm sure these problems wouldn't have arisen. We see this growth, and Kanhaiya Kumar went and met Rahul Gandhi to thank him. What's wrong if somebody wants to go and thank a person who has stood by him and where he thinks that he is absolutely right? I think it's a fundamental right that he can go and meet anybody. Why he didn't want to meet anybody from BJP? Why he didn't want to meet the Prime Minister? Why he didn't want to meet the Home Minister? Why he didn't want to meet the HRD ministry? I think because nobody came forward to have a dialogue with them. We have seen Rohith Vemula. You may have seen how Rohith Vemula committed suicide. Such a bright student. And we have seen what's happening with JNU. We are seeing the kind of problem that have started in Ferguson yesterday. Where is the dialogue between the government, the concerned people and the students? Lathi charge, arresting them, passing on sedition charges on them, or calling them Deshdrohis, or calling them that they're anti-nationals. This is not the way to lead the students from the front. They need a dialogue. You have to speak to them. You have to bring them and ask them what the problem is. Mr. Apparao, the VC of Hyderabad University, coming back to the campus, it's absolutely wrong. The tension still prevails. There's a very clear statement of Rohith saying that how Apparao is partly responsible, the kind of decision he had taken. So how do you expect people to just accept him back when he found it very comfortable to leave the campus for two months after Rohith's death, and today he thinks it's fine for me to come back and the students are going to just accept him? How do you expect these students to just react to this?
But you raised an important question. You raised an important question about where the dialogue is between the government and students, and I'll get Professor Sinha to respond to that. But to sum up first, this could actually have been an opportunity, or could be, for the government to reach out and have this dialogue, and yet I don't see that happening. In fact, I see the hardening of positions on each side.
Actually, you know, Nidhi, it's not very clear why this Vice Chancellor has returned at this time. There is one committee which is yet to give its report. So, is it done with on instructions from the HRD? I'm a bit confused. Are they just? Is it just because he should not? The Rohith Vemula case was such a flashpoint. It has large scale political implications also. It is something that a certain section of society is relating to, talking about. It's actually something which you know, which moved people, the way he wrote that suicide letter. So, I am not understanding if this is a political design, that how has the Vice Chancellor returned in the middle like this? When
that signals to you a hardening of position. He doesn't come on his own.
So
then we presume
there's a hardening of position. But I just want to, you know, just one point I'd like to make. There is nothing wrong in protests and being anti-establishment if you're a student. That's everybody's right. This country is built on anti-establishment protest. We had freedom because of that. New parties emerged because of that. That is an inevitable part of democracy. The question about Kanhaiya Kumar, I actually think that him going to Hyderabad is legitimate because he's a student leader. This whole idea that he should be campaigning in political parties' rallies was, I always thought, not appropriate at that point.
Isn't this though a very big political statement that he is making by going to Hyderabad?
Of course, but he is a student, he is political, and this is actually a student forum. So, I think it's very legitimate for him to go there.
I have something to say.
You know? One thing I will.
Okay, Nelson wants to say something. Sorry, yes, Nelson.
No, I mean 2 points regarding this. One is about Kanhaiya Kumar meeting political leaders. I mean, if he is meeting Rahul Gandhi requesting for a Rajya Sabha MP, then we should all worry. But meeting people, you know, that is something normal and that people should do. I think politicizing that is a problem. And secondly, a student leader or a protest against a mightier central government has to happen with with a coordination among all the universities in the country. So, building that coordination, I think Kanhaiya Kumar, what has he become today, he has that responsibility also to build that coordinated effort against his government and demand justice for Rohith Vemula, demand justice for the people who have been punished, or people who have been filed and sent to jail on false cases.
Sabha wants to add one thing. What is very intellectually interesting about this whole thing, because the left has fundamentally all over generally been in decline, is the combination of Lal Salam with Jai Bhim. So, there is an ideological composition to what has happened as an outcome of what I think is the government trying to crack down with its version of nationalism.
So, let's get Professor Sinha on this, because a couple of points have been raised. On this question of a dialogue between the government and the students, Khushbu says, where are people from the government who is willing to speak to these students and listen to their problems?
Give me one instance when Hyderabad students, those who are protesting, came Delhi or demanded time from appointment from HRD Minister or the Prime Minister, and they have declined? No, not at all. They are just using it as a political Rohit suicide, and I don't want to play the sentiment of the Rohit's parents and also the non-political Dalits, those who are facing social exclusion. Their main primary issue is the dignity in the campus and outside the campus. My whole thing is
of
that
Kanhaiya,
Nelson, let him finish. I'll come to you.
Let me finish.
Let him finish.
Don't get excited.
Yeah.
Kanhaiya's utility is one utility that I accept. that All India Students Federation, the CPI's student wing, which was at the moribund stage, is now getting some revival. And it has some upper hand on Student Federation of India of CPM, and in JNU, you just see, ISA has completely withdrawn from all the protests. ISA is a CPIML students. So practically,
that's not true. That's not true. They are
I am telling you, they are symbolically making presence, but you just see, not even the TV discussion, ISA representatives are coming for the last 1 month. So this is the practical situation, that there is a murmuring in the left. Second thing, that for the first time, those Dalit groups who were under the impact of the ultra left, now they are shifting to the CPI, Communist Party of India, and AISF. That is the internal politics of left parties. Kanhaiya has no utility beyond that. If Rahul Gandhi is hankering on Kanhaiya, or Sitaram Yechuri is hankering on Kanhaiya, they are eluded by the Kanhaiya's popularity. This is not the fact. Kanhaiya can't give
are you,
any,
I mean, but do you also have to acknowledge that there seems to be a pattern here of problems that are, unfolding on campuses, whether it's FTII, whether it is Hyderabad University, JNU, or now Ferguson College. Since yesterday, there's been a controversy about anti-national slogans allegedly being raised there. IIT, the IIT study circle, the IIT Madras controversy. Is there a pattern of student ferment here, of student unrest here? And the question is, they don't need to seek an appointment with the Prime Minister. He's probably not going to meet them. But maybe a delegation from the ministry could have gone to the university and just tried to hear them out. From Hyderabad, for example.
Ministry has sent 2 members committee there.
But did they talk to the students?
No, Nidhi, there is a probe. The probe has been ordered by the ministry. There is a judicial system in this country. Everything according to the constitution. It is not the monarchy. You have everything Prime Minister will handle, and the Prime Minister is not a monarch, and the Chardi Minister is not monarch. You have to depend on the process and system. Today is the BJP government, tomorrow will be Congress government, the day after tomorrow there will be some other government. My point is here that they are politicizing the issue, and only the left group, the pattern is same. The radical left and the radical Dalit activists who are under the influence of certain ultra ideology, I don't want to name these ultra ideology, they are at the forefront. Common Dalit students are not with their movement.
Nelson,
and
Nelson,
RSS, BJP have a strong influence among the Dalit community.
And Nelson, I want to ask you, how do you see a dialogue taking place? Because it can't be one way, it can't only be from the government. Is there a way that students too can find a way to talk to the government?
Yeah, but before that I would like to respond to a few other things raised before. One is about the belief in system, the procedure, all of us have to wait and so on and so forth. But some people are getting impatient with those processes, if at all, if that is true, is because the way in which these processes are influenced by people in positions of power. That has to be noted down. On 18th January 2016, FIR has been registered on Apparao and 6 others in Hyderabad. And till now, no arrest has been made. But yesterday night, the students, for whatever, in the pretext of ransacking or so on and so forth, we don't even know what FIR has been filed, but they are arrested. What kind of system is this? Is it not biased? Property damage is more serious than murder of a person, institutional murder of a person. What kind of system is this?
Okay, look, that's an important point. Let me go to Krishna Sagar Rao of the BJP, who's joining us now from Hyderabad. Mr. Rao, the point here is that given how volatile the situation has been in Hyderabad University, was the return of the Vice Chancellor at this time the right moment for him to come back? And as Nelson, who's a student there in Hyderabad University, points out, no one's been arrested who's been named in the FIR for Rohith's death, but you've had more than 30 students being arrested since the lathi charge that took place on them yesterday, and the charges against them are still not clear.
See Nidhi, I think the fundamental question one need to ask is how can a suicide be converted into a murder, that too an institutional murder, by default? That is the moot question. I think we have to understand that first. Number 2 is the grounds on which the FIR was filed on the minister, Dattatreyaji, the MLC and the VC Apparao is very shaky. That's why probably the police in the state hasn't arrested them, because see, the only document which is available after a suicide is a suicide note, and the suicide note is not suspect. It has been forensically proved that suicide note is the handwriting of Rohith. So obviously that is the only shred of evidence for the suicide and the reason for suicide. So once it is established, I think to cool the tempers, the FIR was filed. So that is the issue. But coming to a larger aspect,
an FIR is not normally filed to cool tempers, sir. An FIR is not filed to cool tempers.
That is the irony, Nidhi.
Yeah. I mean, is FIR a political tool? Are you saying FIR is a political tool?
That is the irony of the system today. I don't know who's speaking because I cannot see anybody. I'm sorry.
That's Nelson,
Sabha,
who's the student. He's the student from Hyderabad University.
Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is that is the sorry state of
FIR is a
affairs.
political tool?
Nidhi.
He's asking you whether an FIR is a political tool.
I think so. I think the local government has to talk about why the FIR was first of all filed on the minister and VC when they have nothing to do with the death. The death is a suicide. It's very simple. And the world over, when a suicide happens, the only shred of evidence for a suicide is to establish, how the death happened is a suicide note. As simple as that.